We can start the line command, pick a point, pull your mouse to the left, type in 6 and enter, pull your mouse straight up, type in 3 and enter, pull your mouse to the right, type in 2 and enter, pull your mouse straight down, type in 0.5 and enter, pull your mouse to the right and type in 2 and enter, and begin to establish your detail. We're going to type in 2 here and enter, and then right click and pick close to close back to the first point that we picked. There are other ways of establishing this detail that we're going to look at in the next couple of weeks. If we know that we're going to establish a circle here, we'll need to pick the midpoint of this line so we can verify that the object snap midpoint is on by placing your pointer at the bottom here on object snap and then right click and take a look at midpoint. Mine does not have a box in it, so I'm going to go ahead and left click on midpoint. And now I know when I start the circle command, and I know that my larger circle is radius, I can pick center radius, go to the midpoint of this line, making sure I have the triangular icon as midpoint. I can left click for the center point and then type in here 1.5 for the radius. The other circle is diameter, so I'll use this drop down with circles to pick center diameter. I'll pick the midpoint here for my center point and then 1.25 for my diameter. I can use the mirror command, which helps us to mirror objects from one side of the detail to the other. I'll start the mirror command, which is up in the modify panel. Select here the objects that you'd like to mirror, those two circles, enter, left click the midpoint of the bottom line, and then just pull your mouse up here to establish that mirror line. You can left click anywhere as long as you pull your mouse directly straight up and left click. Objects disappear temporarily, but if you look in your command line, you're being asked if you want to keep the original objects, and there's already an N in brackets, so you can just go ahead and press enter. We're working with assignment 2. We mirrored these circles from the right side to the left, and now we're going to use a command called trim. When you use the command called trim, you're asked to select a cutting edge, which is the edge that you'd like to trim objects back to. If you start the trim command and take a look in your command line, one of the options is to accept selecting all in brackets there. So you can start the trim command and then press enter, and everything automatically becomes a cutting edge. Then you can just click on here this inner part of the circle as the object that you want to trim out. As long as those lines are touching the circle, then there's a cutting edge. Here I'll select the inside circle, what I want to take out. AutoCAD kind of spreads out and finds the first objects that it's intersecting and trims out that line. I can right click and pick enter and then start the erase command and select these two lines and enter or right click, and there's my detail. Now when we place our first linear dimension, you're going to see that we need to change our precision like we did in the first assignment. So let's go ahead and use the linear command from the annotation panel. I'm going to start that and go to the center of this circle and the end of this line. Pull your mouse up and click, and notice here that it's 2.0000. A quick way to get to that dialog box is to type in D and enter. When you type in D and enter, you're brought to the Dimension Style Manager. You can pick the Modify button, go to the Primary Units tab, and change here the precision to 2 places to the right. Pick OK and close. Then continue with linear dimensions here and here. Please don't try to eyeball here or try to line these up by sight. You'll need to pull your pointer over to the end of this arrow until you get the endpoint object snap, and then left click to know that this is perfectly lined up, because it will show on the drawing if they're not. lined up. Start the linear command again, click here and here. Now I'm ready. I can right click to repeat the dim linear command and left click inside this circle. Inside this circle, pull your mouse down and left click. Here in the annotation tab under the linear command, we can get our radius dimension and select here the circle, bring your mouse out here and left click, and we can also pick up the diameter. Here we'll select the inner circle, pull your mouse out and left click. We can now place our name here, select this large A in the annotation panel. I can left click, pull my mouse over and down and left click again and set the cap locks on and type in here assignment 2 and then enter and type in your name. And then I can come back and hold your left mouse button down and drag your mouse across assignment 2 and then pick underline, which is up in the formatting panel. Notice that when you place text, you also get an additional tab, text editor, and the entire panel changes for the settings of text. I can pick here in the AutoCAD screen to place that text. This is assignment 2. You can save this file as assignment 2 in your name and submit it. Save this file and we'll start a brand new drawing for assignment 3. Each one of these drawings will be a different AutoCAD file. So here, when I start a brand new drawing by clicking on this white sheet of paper, you can leave that other drawing open because we're going to create another one right on top of it and take a look at opening several files at the same time. We'll use the template ACAD DWT. And then the first thing that you want to do when you start a brand new drawing is to save it. Let me turn this grid off. So save it and find a spot for it. Call it A3 and your name. Go ahead and pick save. Assignment 3, you can take a look at the worksheet. I'll start the line command, pick a point, pull my mouse down, type in 0.5 and enter. Pull my mouse to the right and type in 0.75 and enter. I'm going to roll the wheel of my mouse here towards the computer so that I can get a little closer. I can pull my mouse straight down and type in 0.5 and enter. To the left, type in 0.75 and then here down 0.25 and over 3. Here, over 3, up 1.5. And then enter. Now there are other tools that we're going to be working with and like chamfer next week to create this angled line, but for now let's practice offset. Offset is in the modify panel. I can press offset, type in here 2 and enter, select the bottom line and pick anywhere above that line. Then I can right click and pick enter, and then right click and repeat the offset command. Type in here 0.75 and enter. Select this line here on the right hand side and pick to the left hand side. Now I know I'll go ahead and right click and pick enter. I know that I need to stretch this line up to the horizontal line, so I can select it with grips, pick inside the grip that's at the end of the line, pull my mouse up and left click and know that I have that line established. Now I can start the line command and left click here and draw my diagonal. You can get used to the offset command a little bit. Start the offset command, type in 1 and enter, and know that you can select this line and offset it to the left by 1. Start the line command, left click here and here. Okay, I won't need these lines that are inside, so I'll use the erase command to select these lines and then press enter. And I'll need to trim this out. I can use grips to bring it back, or I can start the trim command, press enter, and then select what I don't want. See how it cuts back to the first intersection or cutting edge that it finds. Now there are several other ways of drawing this detail, but for now we're working with commands that we're just starting out with, as we're working with our third exercise, as we're working with our third assignment. We're ready to place dimensions, so we're going to make the dimension layer current and use the linear dimensions to dimension the rest of this detail. In this detail, if you look at the worksheet, we're changing the overall scale to 0.5, which is half the size, because if you notice, the dimensions are a little bit bigger than the object. So we'll type in D and enter, pick the modify button. In the primary units tab, we'll change the precision to 2 places to the right. But then we're going to go to the fit tab, and where it says use overall scale of, change the overall scale here to 0.5. Pick OK and close, and you'll see that the dimension will change its precision 2 zeros to the right of the decimal, and also change its size to half its size. You can go ahead and use the linear command to dimension the rest of this detail. Remember that you are going to use object snaps when you're lining up these dimensions with other existing dimensions. I also want to show you what happened to a few people in the first assignment. If you're not careful, you might select the extension line as the first point for your dimension. So what I can do here is, to clean it up, is to select the dimension, pick inside the blue grip that's at the end of the extension line, and then bring it back to the corner of the object instead of the end of the extension line. Same thing here. If it was off and over here someplace, I can pick inside the blue grip and bring it back to where it needs to go. And there's the 1.5. Because this detail is a little smaller, we're going to make the text height 0.1 instead of 0.2, which is half the default size. So if you set the text layer current and pick the multi-line text icon, notice that the text is large. We can here left click, pull our mouse over and left click, and then inside this text editor tab we can click on here this 0.2 highlighted so that you can type in 0.1 and then enter, and you'll notice that that little crosshair here is a little bit smaller. With your cap locks on, you can just go ahead and type in assignment 3 and then your name, and highlight here assignment 3 and underline it. Pick inside the AutoCAD screen and you've got your text. I'm going to select the text and drag and drop it to center it a little bit better. Okay, there is assignment 3. I can save this file. You want to be careful not to open a file more than one time. If you open a file twice, what you'll get is a read-only file for the second file. If you created a lot of changes, you'll have to save it as a different name. And then start a brand new drawing for assignment 4. Using the ACAD DWT template, this is good practice for you to go through these assignments to get used to these basics, especially for those of you who are just starting out. Save your file as A4 with your name and complete assignment 4. It's very similar to assignment 1. You have here this 4.25 line. You can start the line command here, come across, down 4 over 5.5, and then come up 2 and then close. Use offsets. We have an offset here of 1 and another one here of 2.5 in order to find that intersection for the circle. And then for these two circles, you're going to create an offset of 3 from this left line and 1.5 from the bottom line. After you establish here those two lines, you can draw a circle from the intersection of those two lines and then draw another circle from the intersection of those two lines or the center of the circle. Place your name, save the file. I'd also like to spend a couple minutes to show you how to plot these drawings. There's a little printer icon at the very top left side. You can click on that. The dialog box here will show you the different printers that you can select. My DeskJet printer here I'll pick is F4400. And now that I have the paper, it's at 8.5 by 11. I can pick the window drop down here. Yours might just say display. So plot area, what to plot, you can pick window. And if the window button is showing, you'll need to pick the window button. You can establish a paper around your object by left clicking, pulling your mouse across and left clicking. I've already established it, and that's why mine is white and the rest of it's gray. But you'll be left clicking, pulling your mouse across and left click. It brings you back to the dialog box here. Put a check mark in center the plot, and then the dialog box itself is smaller and made larger by selecting here this greater than symbol at the bottom right corner. You can then access the pen assignments, change this to monochrome CTB. Monochrome CTB will give you a black and white plot. Pick yes. If you didn't change this to monochrome CTB and you tried to print a yellow or a green to a black and white printer, those lines will come out a lot thinner. So use a monochrome CTB for a black and white plot. If you pick apply to layout here at the bottom, those settings will be saved in that model layout. Always pick preview first before you print. Here you'll see that because this and yours, if you downloaded it through Autodesk, is an Autodesk educational product, you'll get the 4 lines of text. Several students of mine will either cut that off and make prints of it, or what they'll do is create a JPEG of the file and then crop it out using Picasa or other programs for photos. So when you're ready to print, you can pick the printer here at the top left corner. And if you need to go back to the dialog box, click here, the circle with the X in it. Or you right click and exit or plot here. So I'll go ahead and pick exit to get back to the dialog box so that I can show you if you wanted to create a JPEG. A JPEG file can be, and a PDF files can be created in this drop down. You select JPEG or PDF, set up your printing parameters and then print settings. When you pick OK, you'll be asked to save the file in one of your folders. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. If you have any questions about printing or any of the first 4 assignments, please don't hesitate to keep in touch with me because I am here to help you.